Hey, this is going to be a tough competition. Welcome, Navi workers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, very welcome. Because I know that I don't know where, I think Russia must have um, put it out there about the gift because we have a free gift from our host tonight. So I'm very, very, very grateful because this is an extremely busy man. So I know we've had the early people that have signed up, that have joined the live. So please tell everybody this promises to be very, 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 very inspiring. Good to see you, Uche. Good to see you, Commander Idu. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. If it's possible, please let us know where you're joining from. Thank you very much. Hey, Uche, you're joining from Canada. Thank you so much. So it's about 1 o'clock your time. So that means that you're joining from Ima, you're joining from England. Oh, Tolu is also joining from Canada. That means you guys is 1 o'clock your time. So I'm hoping this is your lunch break. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Let me see. It looks a bit dark. Should I brighten it a bit? Oh, that's too bright now. Okay. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you from Canada. Thank you from England. Thank you so much for joining. I can imagine that it's yes, I think you're 6, depending on where you are, you're oh all right. Thank you, Tolu from Canada. Thank you, Uche from Canada as well. Thank you, Manuel Idu from England. Thank you for joining. So yes, so welcome to, give me a second, let me put a pause on this. Yeah, it can be very scary setting goals. So yeah, that's why we have to declare that we're not slaves to fear. Okay, welcome to Navi Work, your guide to settling into a new environment, whether you're fresh out of school or whether you're transitioning from one organization to the next. We know that it can be challenging to do this because we have been there, we've done that, we've won the t-shirt. And I am the amazing Ameze, and I'm definitely here to help. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Body Up, that helps you. It's a 50-week guide to help you settle in to the work environment. Today, I have somebody that I've known for such a long time. I don't even know how many years. It's a tremendous honor to have him join us tonight. He's none other than Mr. Damilola Ajayi. I'm going to read his profile before maybe I should bring him up first. He's a very shy person, so I didn't know that to read his profile first before bringing him up. And somebody has already won the first giveaway he was giving, which is a 30-minute coaching session. We're going to give it to one more person. I don't know if Roshan was able to capture. I think the criteria was the first person to join online. But we'll be communicating who the winner of the second coaching session. The first winner was somebody from Malawi, so that she's going to be having a 30-minute coaching session with him. We're grateful for that. And Roshan, I'm not sure. I think it was Commander Idu and Mr. Uche that joined first. I'm not quite sure. So we need to be very sure who joined first so that they can get the second coaching session. So I'll go right into it. Let me first of all attempt to add him. We always have those issues adding him. Then I will read his profile so we can get right into it. I'm eating into his time. He's a very busy man. So I'm going to attempt to add him right now. He has joined. Should I add you again, or why are we having some struggles adding you? Let me see. Can't see it. Okay, I'll send another request. It says he can't see it. I'll cancel it an invite again. I've sent another invite, so let's see.
Thank you.
And yes, we
Thank you
can
very
see you.
much.
So now
Thank
you
you.
have to.
Appreciate it.
Yay! I can't hide my excitement. Oh, great, 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 great stuff. I'm very well. How are you, sir? Good evening. You look very, very well. Oh, wow, wow, wow. He's here. He's here. Roshan is so excited. She's the first winner of the coaching session. And Roshan logs on from Malawi. So, Roshan, congratulations. Can you keep the excitement down? You're even 3 hours ahead. So, really, you should be in bed. But anyway, what's good is good. So, thank you so much. Roshan, you let us know at the end of the live who gets the second session. I had two people log in from Canada wait, one from Canada, one from England. So, I need to know who that person who's going to win the second coaching session. But let me talk about Mr. Ajayi. He's not just it was not just a boss of mine, but he was also a personal friend. I'm going to read his profile. So, Mr. Damilola Ajayi is the Group Chief Operating Officer at Vetiva Capital, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and a pioneer of the exchange traded funds in Nigeria. With over 25 years in private wealth management, he has seen one thing hold true: successful people set clear, intentional goals and they follow through. I mean, they listen to that part. They follow through. They didn't just set the goals. So he's here. And to be honest, to a lot of people, he needs an introduction. But I have watched his life for about 20 years, and I have seen him grow. I've seen him do amazing things. I've seen him, just move in leaps and bounds. So I believe that whatever he says to us today is a nugget. Many people go away. I know, and he also wrote a book. Are you going to tell about that book? Because you put a wealth of knowledge in that book. So I think that you're not going to die full. You're going to die very empty, because we're going to take everything we can take from you today in form of questions, and we know that we're going to find a lot of things in your book as well. If you can send me a message, or get someone send me a message so I can put your book and your handle so that people can follow you, put the title of your book, and people can purchase it. I need to know what platforms that it can be purchased on as well. But Russian, you have to stop dancing. You're distracting me with you've already won. Can other people win? Thank you very much. So when you join, please, you can let us know where you are logging on from. You can also join our YouTube channel. We'll try our best to make sure that we upload this live on YouTube almost as soon as we're done, and we'll be posting nuggets of what Mr. Dami says today. So take notes, please. So we'll just go right into it. Yes, right into it. I need to go right into it. Where are the questions? Where are you now? Because I did not just have them. I now wrote them down because I wanted to avoid stories that touch. I don't want any stories at all. I need to have them right here. Great. Okay, so the first question. You've led teams and launched groundbreaking financial products in Nigeria. How do you personally set goals that
Okay,
align
thank you.
with a
Thank you very
bigger
much,
vision?
Ameza. Thank you for
Because
having
we know
me.
that you did this within the
I
context
consider
of
it
an
a privilege. I
organization.
consider
So
it an honor. And
this is your
hi,
personal
everyone.
experience now. How do
It's
you
good to be
personally
here.
set goals
I look
that
forward
align
to
with a bigger vision?
an engaging time together, rubbing minds together. I look forward to a time in which we also all learn from each other. How do you set goals within a bigger vision? Unfortunately, many people think that to have a vision, it means that you can be subservient to a larger vision or a bigger vision. That is not correct. Those of us who are in 9 to 5 also have visions for our lives. It's not just business owners or entrepreneurs or those who are self-employed, etc. And I will use myself as an example. I think the first thing is clarity. Clarity in respect to the vision to which you are currently attached. Okay? First and foremost, ensure that there is no right. Excellent. Excellent.
Sorry, I muted my mic so
So
that
let me
my
start again.
gestures and my excitement don't
First and foremost is to
interrupt you
have
or distract
clarity
you. But there was a
and a full
freeze for a bit, but
understanding
I had
of the
clarity. And
vision
so that's
that you
very
are
key.
serving
So
under.
I'll mute my
Start
mic
with
again
that.
so I can keep
And
taking
why is
notes.
that
I'm taking
important?
notes, so
Because
everybody
first
keep
and
taking
foremost, you need
notes.
to be sure that there are no fundamental conflicts between your personal vision and the vision of wherever you are. Secondly, every vision has different phases of expression or different areas of expression, different modes of expression. And for me, where I work in Vetiva, one of our core values is innovation, and innovation resonates with me. So within the vision that you are serving under, what is that expression in that vision that resonates with you? That acts as a guide to an area in which you can express yourself and find fulfillment, even though you are under another vision. And it was someone I respect so much, one of my mentors as well, Femi Oduole, that told me more than 20 years ago that you are never really working for someone. Every effort you put into any work, even if it's for someone else, you are doing it for yourself. That is something that really triggered my mindset to have a sense of ownership. So if you find out an area of that vision that you are attached to that resonates with you, you can now begin to express yourself within that. So you talked about the ETFs. Like I said, one of our core values in Vetiva is the innovation. And as at 2008 or thereabouts, when I first heard about ETFs and I started learning about ETFs, there was nothing like that in the Nigerian market. So for me, it signaled innovation. And the pursuit of exchange traded funds into our market was innovative. It aligned with the vision of where I was working. It resonated with me. I was able to achieve personal fulfillment, in that regard. So that's what I would say to someone who is, under another vision and wants to set goals or align their visions to wherever you are. Yeah.
Very interesting, because that leads us to our next question. So I'm so glad the way this is flowing. You said and you first of all said clarity. It's good to have clarity, and because clarity will help you understand whether there are any fundamental conflicts between the larger vision and your vision. So clarity is very
Mm.
good. You also indicated, because most people, most Gen Zs, millennials, our target market, really everybody wants to be their own boss. They just feel like, oh, these people are wasting my time. So everybody is hurrying into entrepreneurship without being taking some time to even be subservient under a vision. Everybody sees as you're not innovative, you're not bullish enough if you're not doing your own thing. So I'm glad that you pointed out that you are quite the successful person, and you work 9 to 5. So and that has been, you'll be
Mhm.
fulfilling your vision under another vision, and doesn't make you any less of a person doing that. So that leads me to my next question. What would you say is the first step for someone who feels unsure about what goals to
Well,
set? So for instance, you said
I
clarity.
get
This
that
person said, I don't
quite
even
a
know.
bit
How,
when I
what
have
is
the
the
opportunity
first
of
step to
coaching
even being
people,
sure
and
of my
it's not a
goals or
problem,
setting goals?
not to have
I think that's
clarity.
the question.
Um, it's great if that is identified so that it can be addressed. But what I usually say is something I read that says get still and get honest. What that means is that you need to sit down, reflect, and understand what really matters to you as a precursor to you defining your goals, defining your vision. I mean, it's Nietzsche that says that when the why is clear, then the how is easy. So when you understand your purpose, when you understand your whys, then it's easier to become more concrete in setting goals. And one of the easiest ways to go through that process of clarifying what matters to you or to discover yourself is something very basic. If you have not, please take a personality test. It's so simple. It's out there. And what that does for you is that it begins to define your strengths, your weaknesses, your motivations, what pushes you, what attracts you, what motivates you. There are many of them out there. I think the popular ones would be maybe MBTI. I am an INFJ, for example. So just saying that, I'm an introvert. I'm sure Ameze is an E something. Or you can take the what's this called? Personality Plus. It's a lady called Florence Litter. She wrote a book called Personality Plus: Understanding Others by Understanding Yourself. That's where you learn about the sanguines, the melancholics, phlegmatics, cholerics, etc. So do that if you haven't. It begins to give you an appreciation of who you are as a person, what resonates with you, what doesn't, and it makes decision making easier. Because I'm very clear what my personality is, there are some things that I know are not up my alley, and there's no point. There's a reason why God made me, the way I am. So there's no point trying to get into those things. And there's another book I like reading. So there's another book, Let Your Life Speak, Parker Palmer. It's also a book that talks about purpose, getting to know yourself. That's a material that can also help you. So when I've had the opportunity to engage or interact with people who have not had clarity on what they should be setting goals about, and they're still trying to find themselves, I usually ensure that they go through that process. It's never failed, and it's not just about taking personality tests. There are some other simple things like, and I'm going to do this with you, Amazing, when we're done. Seeking feedback. You can ask people, how do you see me? What kind of roles do you think I naturally excel at? If you talk to trusted people who have no skin in that game, or who have nothing to gain or lose by being objective, you'll get some good feedback, because people see you from, people see your blind spots. There are things that you don't see that, people see. So you can seek feedback from others, but the point is, take some time to reflect, to understand yourself better before you start thinking of, setting goals. Don't be in a hurry. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you very much. Sorry, a lot of times my head was down
Why
because I
you
was
act
writing.
the way you do?
Because I was writing.
Yeah.
And then you talked about
Yeah.
taking a personality test. And I remember when I was in uni, I took the personality test. Or rather, I read a book. Then it was Tim and Beverly Lahaye. Everybody read them, I think, when we were in uni. Spirit control temperament, why you act the way you do, I love you, but why are we so different? Those ranges of books. And I was so fascinated at the fact that somebody could articulate me so well. And so that's when I realized that I was sanguine. And predominantly, sanguines just like to light up a room. And I just always felt like my goal or my purpose in life would have to connect with helping people to feel lighter or to light up a
Mm-hmm.
room and generally making people happy. And that's really how we wrote Body Up, because I had so many people complaining, just people that just hired Gen Zs. These people don't do this, they don't get it, they don't understand the work practices. And I felt, rather than complaining, these people may also be having a struggle. Let me write something that will help them settle in, because I want everybody to be happy. And if you remember in Vetiva, almost all my initiatives were just how to make people happy and stay here. And it is largely connected to my temperament, So that's a very, very interesting one. So that some people are always looking for their purpose in the moon, when your purpose can be found within. Another interesting one is getting feedback. You do that a lot, Dami. You always ask for feedback. So I mean, you always do that. But now I sort of get a sense why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have people that you trust that will tell you the truth. Oh, you should have talked slower. You were talking a bit too fast. Your hand gestures were too much. Keep your hand down. I mean, people, they don't have any ulterior motive. They're just trying to make sure that you're better. You get that in mentors, or you get that in peers that are also looking forward to your progress. So that's very great that you said that. Now, my personality, which goes to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
We're very excitable people. So we have a lot of goals. So please, how do we differentiate between a wish and a goal? Your personality is very introverted. You are deep thinkers. Before that thing emerges as a goal, we know that a lot of thoughts has
How
gone into it.
how do you
But people like me, the fact
differentiate
that we didn't
between a
think as much as you
wish
did
and a
doesn't mean that
goal,
it's not a goal.
regardless of
So,
your
but it is a
personality,
valid
honestly
question.
speaking?
How do we differentiate
Um,
between a
okay,
wish
let me
and a
start this
goal?
way.
Sorry, sir. I
A
told you we are going to drain you today.
wishes and goals have something in common: desire, right? desire in respect of a future outcome of some sort. Now, the difference between a wish and a goal, I will say, comes about how specific, how vague, the level of responsibility that you put into that desire that separates it being a wish or a goal. So, for example, a wish can be, I want to be rich. That's a nice wish. A goal can be, I want to save 100,000, 500,000 a month so that I can start a business, so that I can build wealth. That's a goal. I want to be famous. It can be a good wish, but a goal will be, I will work on my craft so that my craft can speak for itself, so that I can become well known. So that's how you separate a wish from a goal. And also, when I speak to people, when someone tells me I want to do X, Y, Z, I try and find out, what are you doing currently to get you closer to that desire? If you can't articulate for me what you are currently doing to get yourself closer to that desire, then I'm sorry, you are just engaged in wishful thinking. And wishful thinking can be a trap because of the way our minds, and we won't go into that way, psychological way our minds are set up. Our minds are able to conjure up an alternate reality. And the challenge with that, psychologists will tell you, is that you can get some certain highs from just wishing and imagining and daydreaming that you get from actual achievement, that it can become counterproductive, just for you to be someone who is always daydreaming, always wishing. It can almost become a trap, in itself. So constantly ask yourself, what am I doing to get closer to this wish or this desire? And that separates the wish from a goal. And by the way, there's nothing wrong in having wishes. There's balance in life. I have some wishes. I won't tell you what they are, but well, you need to balance life. But when you get serious with the nuts and bolts of life, you need to separate your wishes from your goals, and that's determined by the actions or the inactions in respect of those desires.
Thank you so much. You said a lot. But you were kind enough to not downplay people that have wishes, because you did say that wishes and goals have something in common, and that's desire. So desire is important. But the desire translating into a goal is backed up by your accountability, the steps that you take, the steps that you do not take. So that for me, and then you said something that I don't want to even say that I'm guilty of, because it's making me quite vulnerable. I dream a lot. Like sometimes I think about my future and it gets me excited. My countenance changes just by the prospect of my future, just looking into it. I always say, if I look into my future, I need to wear sunglasses because it's so bright, So you can get trapped in the joy of what hasn't happened. It's not a bad thing to dream, like you said, but don't get trapped in it just being a wish. You must back it up with the accountability, the steps, the actions, things that you will also stop doing so that you can achieve that goal. So I love this. I love meanwhile, you need to know these questions came in before this session, so people were looking forward to it. So you've talked about your vision and all of that, but I know that you studied computer science in school, and now you're a foremost investment banker. So how has your vision evolved over the years? I don't think it's just computer science to research to this. No, how did it evolve over the years, and how did you know when it was time to pivot? How did you know that it's not this computer science I'm going to do? This is not where it ends. So how has your vision evolved? Because some people are
That's a
thinking, oh, does
complicated
it mean I'm
one.
not staying true to my
But
goal
let me
if I'm
start with
deciding
my
to
story,
pivot?
since you
So how has your vision
alluded to it
evolved over the
specifically.
years, and how did you
From
know
the
when it
first
was
3 months
time to
in
pivot
university,
or
I
make
knew
a
computer
change?
science wasn't for me. There was no doubt about that, and I started taking accountancy classes immediately. Um, so by the time I graduated, I just had one exam left to become a chartered accountant. Um, uh, so, and why I just didn't enjoy the computer science classes. I was relatively okay at it, which goes to say that something you're good at is not necessarily your purpose. I was generally okay at it, but I wasn't fulfilled doing it. But let me expand on that question a bit. There are various schools of thought when it comes to vision. Okay, some people will tell you that vision doesn't change; it's the expression of your vision that changes. Okay, others will tell you that your vision changes as you grow, as you mature. No, we're not here to debate who is wrong or who is right. Both schools of thoughts have valid rationale and logic behind them. One thing I've noticed is that when you have a vision for your life, or when you have an overriding goal, so we'll use those words interchangeably. It's something that you unwrap, right? And it evolves over time. You get to know more about the scope of your vision, the ways to be expressed, the ways to make impact, and that grows as you garner more experience in life. So one thing is clear: with experience comes clarity. Okay, and with growth also comes the ability to refine your overriding goal or your vision. So there's a place for evolution of a goal. Now, just like you, I believe in helping people being better versions of themselves by them identify their uniqueness. Okay, because I consider having a unique personality, and it was until I accepted my personality that I really started enjoying fulfillment in life. Okay, but unlike an Ameze, for example, I like a bit more one-on-one. I may not want to light up a room. I just want to light up just one person. You see what I mean. But the various expressions of that goal, vision, dream, purpose, whatever you call it, has evolved. You mentioned I wrote a book last year. That book was quite technical. It's a book on an aspect of investment banking, exchange traded funds. But currently, I'm writing a book actually called The Journey Within. That the journey within is discovering yourself, discovering your unique self. And 2 years ago, I would never have imagined that I'll be writing a book. It wasn't in my radar. So am I pivoting? No, it's just a different expression of the same vision. I started coaching by accident because someone asked me like 4 or 5 years ago that that's a different expression of the same vision. So there's room for evolution as an individual. However, there's also something called misalignment, where you are going in a totally wrong direction from where you should be going. And in that instance, you need to pivot immediately. They say that the more you delay or wait to act in the right direction, the fewer and more expensive your options are. Okay, you definitely need to pivot. And there's this book, the art of thinking clearly, Robert DiBelli or something like that. You can check that out. It tells you how to understand when you're in the wrong direction and living a life that is aligned with your purpose. But the question, Ameze, if I may tweak your question a bit, is not how do you know when to pivot? But the question I would say is, because we all know when we're in the wrong direction, is how to have the courage or have to have the will to pivot when you know that you're going in the wrong direction. And the reason why this is important is something called the sunk cost fallacy. It's also mentioned in that book I mentioned. Sunk cost fallacy says that there's a tendency for us as human beings to continue in a path that we're already invested in. Am I making sense? So a relationship, you're already in, you're already in a relationship. You've invested a lot. You know it's a wrong relationship, but the natural human tendency is to want to continue, or
Absolutely.
a business,
I was
or
going
a
to say that, so thank
vocation.
you. Absolutely.
And that's why it's called fallacy. Every effort that you have put in a wrong direction is sunk. Let it go. Don't hold on to it. Pivot immediately, especially when you identify a fundamental misalignment in the direction you're going and your own personal values. And when I say personal values, I'm not just saying ethically. No, you can be engaged in something that is ethically and morally correct, but misaligned with your own values, meaning your own direction for your life, what you hold dear, what motivates you in your life. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But I would like to encourage anyone listening to this that if you know that you're in the wrong direction in any area of your life and you're struggling with it, seek help. And you can talk to Amazing Amazing. Seek help. Get an accountability partner of some sorts that can help you change direction, because you need a lot of courage in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for your examples. Because, for instance, if you are in a bus going the wrong direction, the fact that you've already paid a certain long transport money and you are going that far, it does not mean that it will in any way take you. If you're supposed to be going to Aja and you're driving towards Ikeja, no matter how much you spend, no matter how much you keep going, you will never get to Aja. And
We have
you alluded to
we
the
have a
fact
recent
that
example in the
somehow you
news, but
know
let's leave
that
that.
you are in the wrong direction.
Mm.
And I think that that's what a lot of people that get caught up in all these Ponzi schemes just say, maybe let me just quickly, that I'm sure it will soon be my time. Exactly. Exactly. They just say, I've put it. I remember when people used to come to me, funny things. The help that I worked in investment banking, where we always say, where the fundamentals are not straight, it is not a wealth creating mechanism. What are the fundamentals? What is driving the growth of this investment that you say is going to come back? But you just keep saying, I have put in 10K, I've put in 20K. It will soon, and all this is, it's really a fallacy. And you keep putting more, that perhaps at some point it will get to you. But the courage to turn back and seeking help, because there's a thing called shame and embarrassment. People will feel like, how will I even say that an investment banker, I put my money in Prospecto, I put my money in CBEX? How will I say, as a lawyer, I did not think of it? How will I say that as someone that has seen all these things? And they happen almost in cycles. When I remember when I was a lot younger, there was Prospecto. When I was a lot younger, there was Treasure this. And it just keeps happening. And I'm wondering, is it happening to the same set of people, or are people not writing books or telling their stories so that people don't fall prey to these things? Because of shame, people don't want to talk about it. When they have made their mistake, they swallow it up and they move on. And so many people fall back into the trap. So shame is hiding a lot of treasure, because people, I believe the next generation, I believe what has happened with this one, somebody should have the courage to document. And even if you do a documentary, let it go viral so that these people, or people don't keep falling prey to it. I don't want to believe that it's the same set of people, even though it's possible, that fall into these traps. But if people take time to write a book, or to do something, or to do a podcast, whatever your expression is, whatever your temperament allows, just to help make sure that people don't make the same mistake. People always say that you learn from your mistake, but I always say I prefer to learn from other people's mistake. If other people have made the mistake, why must I engage in a personal journey of that same mistake? I can learn if my friends have made a mistake and they tell me
Just to
about it,
say,
and they're
just
not
to say
ashamed to
something.
tell me,
You
regardless
spoke
of how
about
I may
shame.
shame them,
I was trying
but they just don't
trying
want me
to
to make
rack
the
my
mistake.
brain
That,
to
I mean, I'm
remember
sure a
where I
lot less
read that
people will
report.
make mistakes.
There was a
So
research
thank you
report
so
I
so
read
much. Sunk cost
a
fallacy.
while back. This is very, very staggering. That says that there's one thing people fear more than death, and that's shame. Um, and it was a research report. So if because of shame you continue investing in the wrong direction, this is the time, if you are listening to this, to seek help and change direction. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, for me, I think it's from experience, but just hearing you say that there is documentation that shame kills more people, like that shame is a a leading factor in this. It just gives me some kind of solace, because a lot of people are in the wrong direction. A lot of people have jackpot and are scared of jackpot, because how will I go back and tell people that I went to abroad and abroad didn't suit me? So that jackpot thing it seemed like a thing of shame. And I remember when I was living in Nigeria, I said to one of my friends that had relocated, I said, please don't ever feel shame. If you feel that this journey you shouldn't have made it, come back. You stay in my house for as long as you think you need to recalibrate, and then you launch again, because shame stops people really from moving forward. And that takes me to my next question. This is time has gone, but we'll continue because we must drain you. How do you stay focused when your long-term goal feels far away or intimidating? I think intimidating is a stronger word, because it leads to shame. If what if I don't succeed? That's why I felt like this is a natural flow. So it looks far
Okay.
away, and it feels like if you don't succeed, the people that will say, we
Let
knew it,
me
it didn't
start
count the
by
cost, you just be dreaming more than
identifying maybe
yourself,
2 or 3
all those
people
kind of things.
that
So how do you stay focused? You haven't
inspire me
reached
when
it.
it
It
comes
seems like you may
to
never reach it.
focus.
How do you stay
One
focused?
is the first is very interesting. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You'll be surprised. He wrote a book called Be Useful. Um, and the level of focus that gentleman has in transiting from Austria into the US to start bodybuilding, in transiting from bodybuilding to shooting movies, in transiting from shooting movies to politics, it's unbelievable. And another gentleman is Cal Newport. Cal Newport wrote the book Deep Work. And one of the stories that he shared in that book is about a gentleman called Adam Gant. Adam Gant, I think he's still in
Yes.
Stanford now. Adam Gant, he said that the average academician writes maybe two research papers a year. Adam Gant, in a particular year, wrote 16. Uh, that's that's some that's some serious focus. Uh, and there's this book as well. Sorry, I like reading, so I'm always referring to books. There's this book as well called The One Thing. The One Thing. Gary Keller shows you how to
That's
have clinical
staggering.
focus on an objective.
Yes.
So focus is not easy, but it can be built. How do you stay focused when your long-term goal feels far away? Is that what you said? Far away or intimidating. Number one is to know that it's progress that matters, not perfection or a
Yes.
destination.
When it
Okay.
feels far away or intimidating.
So if Ameze talked about going from somewhere to Aja or somewhere to wherever, Lagos to Ibadan, London to New York.
Yes.
If you move from your house to the airport, you've made progress. When the plane takes off, you make progress. So focus on progress, and to appreciate progress, you need to break that intimidating goal into tiny bits. Now, I remember I was talking to a colleague of mine in the industry, and he asked her, "How did you find time? We see your hours, the way you work. How did you find time to write your book?" How was I able to focus? I was able to break that goal of writing a book into smaller pieces. Believe me, Amaz, I was doing 15, 20 minutes a day. 15, 20 minutes a day doesn't change your life, does it? And maybe weekends, I do a chunk, okay? But largely 15, 20 minutes a day consistently. They say in consistency lies the power. Consistently. And there's this thing that compounds. I mean, we've all read Atomic Habits, right? James Clear that talks about compounding. 15 minutes, 15 minutes today, 15 minutes tomorrow, 15 minutes the next day in 3 months is a right. James Clear. So he's one of my he's one of my heroes. So break it down into smaller bits and remain consistent. There's also another book, Jeff Olson, that it's called The Slight Edge. That it also talks about those
Sorry, I just
small
said I should lift
actions
up
over
body up, so I'm
time
not marketing for anybody
delivering
else as well.
tangible or impressive results. So first thing, break them down.
Yes.
Second is there must be a why for that goal. Remember we spoke about um, get still and get honest, right? There must be a why. If there is no why, then when the excitement of that project dies down, you will struggle to find the motivation. You see what I mean? People will tell you that it's not motivation that gets things done, it's discipline, right? And it's that why that gives you the discipline. Why has Ameze been consistent in what she has been doing? Is
Yeah.
because there's a why behind it. If there was no why behind it, once the wind blows and something that looks like an option or an alternative comes, then you pivot, and then you have people pivoting every year from one thing to another. So it's those two. There are many other tiny things. So, for example, don't do it alone. I mean, make sure you are surrounded with a very close, for people like me, a very, very close circle of people that you trust, that you're accountable to, that you listen to, who can tell you who can tell the truth to your face. Be accountable to them. Those people will also push you because all of us are human. There will be times of discouragement. So I'll say, but key is being able to break it down, remain consistent. Second is know why. Be very clear on your why before you embark on any big projects, or else when those storms come, you'll be discouraged. And then number three, make sure you uh, don't do things alone. Have people who are on your flanks encouraging you. That's what I will say has helped me every time I've had to do something. Um, like the book I'm writing now, the research is so intense. But I have 2-3 people I've told that I'm doing this, and the mere fact that I know this person is going to ask, I don't really want to disappoint this person. I want to be a person of my word. Keeps me going when I'm asking myself, please, nobody's paying you for this. Just enjoy your life. Yeah. Mm.
So don't leave the face of this earth with all this wisdom that you're releasing. It will live on. It's very, very, very important. You said progress, not perfection. A lot of us are looking for perfection, especially people, particularly with your type of temperament. They if it's not perfect, they don't want to do it. But no, progress is key. And that's very. I took that away. Consistency is also key. I just got on my Instagram feed. I saw like a pastor on my Instagram feed, and I'm very, very careful when I'm
Mm.
trying to who inspires me. So I sent this person to my pastor and I said, who's this guy? Just came up on my feed. I've never even seen him before. He said the person is not a new face. The person has been around for a very long time and has been consistently doing what he's doing. And one
Mm-hmm.
day, that's how it happens. The person just
Mm-hmm.
explodes. He has been so just to let you know, Ameze, this person is not new, he's not a
Mm.
phony, he has just been consistent. You may not have known, he has probably been in the just been preparing for 20 years. The way he's talking now is the way he was talking 20 years ago. But his consistency is now making you see him and is making you think, where did this person come from? So that is very, very key. Another thing you talked about was breaking down the goals. I remember in the book Body Up, we wrote that there. And then in one of the videos, we also talked about when you break down those goals, celebrate the achievement of the goal. So in the little goal, so when you break down the goal into small, small bits, when you achieve a small bit, celebrate it. Don't make it look like that will make you recognize that I'm moving forward. And I remember in that video, I talked about a bowl of ice cream that I had said, if I finish this thing and send it to my editor tonight, thankfully she was 8 hours behind me. I said I would do a bowl. What I don't care about Fit Farm, I don't care about anybody. I would take, and I bought the ice cream and kept it in the freezer. And immediately, so for that, as small as it was, for that subset of that goal, that bowl of ice cream was good enough for me. So celebrating that, knowing that once I send to my editor, there's something to look forward to. Again, in understanding the why, which is what you said. I remember when I joined investment banking and everybody was doing CFA. So I thought, okay, since I'm working in investment banking, let me do CFA, which is not a very strong why. And I remember having a conversation with Mimi, God rest her soul, and she said, have you tried to just go online and go and test the questions? I said, no. She said, I think you should do that first. She said, I think you should do that first. When you do it, you will be cured. But it was different from when I wanted to do CIPM. It was in furtherance to my HR career. You've done law. You've done HR for so long. This will strengthen what you have been doing. And so understanding that it will open more doors, it will give you a foot in a larger door. So do your CIPM. And I remember shortly after that, I did something for the MD at the time, and he was like, this is, this thing. In my mind, I'm thinking, this guy, you don't think I know this thing. That's if this training that you went for, it has really helped. So understanding the why and having a reasonable why too, because that CFA, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought it. So thank you so much. And then you said discipline gets things done, not motivation. The discipline to come online twice. I was doing this every week. It was feedback and surveys that said give people something to look forward to and do it twice, because I was genuinely, I like to be a solution and I like people to be happy. So I just was really tired of people that they don't get it, they don't understand. But in our days, there's no way our boss will get to a meeting before us. And I'm saying these people joined work before COVID. They joined during COVID. You were before COVID. You are used to getting into meetings. They joined remote work. So they don't even know what you're talking about. We learn from observation. Damichuka and Doctor get into the office before 8 o'clock, and they were the billionaires or the bosses. So what exactly is stopping you from getting into the office on time? So with some things we caught just by being in the room with people. And the generation you're complaining about have not had the privilege of being in the room to be trained to catch some things that people cannot catch. That's why we do. So that's the bigger why. Then of course my feedback was like, reduce it and all of that, so that people look forward to it and they get a lot of content for what is what. So many things that people didn't know. So that's how we kept being consistent. We started the first Navi Work Live, I think was November 2023. That's the first time we've been doing. Yes, the book was released the following year on Workers' Day, May 1st, but the first live was held November 6, 2023, and we've done this consistently. And then it's structured to take a 2-week break only during Christmas and New Year before we now come back. And it's just consistency. And I know the doors has opened. Last year I did the onboarding session for the NCC, and this is just the beginning, I believe. So thank you so much. You also said don't do it alone. Sometimes for fear of failure, you want to just fail secretly, you want to fail privately. If I do it and I get tired and I stop, nobody will know. But once I announce it that I'm doing something, or tell someone I respect, when they start holding me accountable, I cannot tell them I'm irritated. So you want to fail by yourself. What people don't know, they cannot judge you by. So these are some of the fears that people try to overcome. I remember again when I was doing the CIPM, I didn't tell anybody. They just saw pictures when I was going to attend the induction. And a friend of mine said to me, how did I not know that you were trying to get inducted into the CIPM? I said, because I didn't want this. I don't want the situation where you'll be asking me, have you done this? What if I now decide that I don't want to do again? I will have too many people to be explaining to. But that accountability keeps you driven. It keeps you, steady and stayed on your goal. So thank you so much for articulating it the way you have. Now, you've pioneered first of its kind ETFs in Nigeria. What's your process for turning a bold idea? Because that your ETF idea is like a dream. It's like especially when it's like a wish, especially when it has never happened in the climate. When you did it here, there was nothing like that. So what's your process for turning a bold idea into a real measurable goal? I know people have heard about SMART, specific measure, but you, Mr. Damilola Ajayi, what was your process? Because it's a big thing. I'm sure many houses are doing it now. But when you did it, it was non-existent in Nigeria. So it was very bold and wishful thinking.
It all
if you
boils
can
down
say
to
that.
execution.
So how
Honestly,
did you translate that
having
into a
a
real
leaning,
and
it's
measurable
called
goal?
leaning towards action. In 2003, someone, Miss Abi is the founder of Future View Securities. She bought me a book. I can't remember who wrote it, but I remember the title. The title is Execution: The Art of Getting Things Done. are two guys. I can't remember their names now. Execution is an art. When people talk about execution, for example, many motivational speakers like talking about someone like Kobe Bryant. They call it the Mamba mentality. But in my personal experience, if I strip out all the nice things that we hear, is that the same way I said motivation doesn't get things done. Oh, well, motivation doesn't sustain things is what I should have said. The same way willpower doesn't really get things done or cannot sustain, bold projects, bold ideas. You need to build a structure of execution around yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, my own structure of execution is building habits and routines. But I need to say that it comes naturally to me. So this may not work for everyone. So for example, I read one book in every 2 weeks currently. And I have a full-time job. I'm on a Stanford program, which is demanding. But I believe so much in routines and habits. 15 minutes, 20 minutes as well before I sleep every night. I'm reading a book. I'm always reading a book. On a flight, because I'm human and I'm not a machine, I like to enjoy. So I break it and say, okay, one movie, one book. So I'll look for one movie that I like. And I also do a reward system like you did with the ice cream. I can tell myself, okay, this is a 6.5 hour flight. And I do that quite often. So I tell myself, okay, a book that is 200 to 50 pages, if you are concentrating, you can finish it in 4 or 5 hours. Okay, so if I finish this book, or if I can go halfway or 3/4 way, then the rest of it I'll watch a nice movie. So I like building routines. And one of those routines that made me execute on the ETF is one thing you mentioned. Every day, 7 a.m. I'm in the office. Between 7 and 8, I'm reading about. I was reading exchange traded funds. So it took like a year or a year and a half, but after a while, I fully understood what the structure meant, and my office was kind enough to send me to South Africa because I demonstrated the desire. It's John Maxwell that said that the proof of desire is what? Pursuit. So they've seen me pursuing this, so I got that support, and I was able to meet others that were ahead of me in the ETF journey, who were able to mentor me and say, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. So I would say the discipline of execution for me comes with being able to build a routine of execution around myself. So if I want to do anything, I must be able to identify a structure of execution that is going to make me do this, regardless of my emotions at any point in time, whether I feel like or I don't feel like, etc. Something, and there's something else called habit stacking. So if there's a habit that you already have, if there's a habit you already have, it's easier to lay another habit on it. Okay. So if I want to do a long-term project, I don't know what project. Let me say I want to release a music album. I don't want to. I'm just saying that hypothetically. And I want to start learning how to sing, for example. I probably will habit stack that. Habit stack that means, what do I do currently now that is a routine that I can attach this
Well, you could
that
because
increases
you can sing.
possibility that I execute. Another thing is, and this I've read, so I'm actually just saying what I've read here, is they tell people that reduce the resistance to start, and that comes with also you breaking down your goals into tiny bits. So if you want to go, like they say, if you want to go the journey of 1,000 miles, start with one step. Just focus on that one step. And psychology shows that once you start something, your brain is wired to see it to completion naturally. So overcome that initial resistance to start. People talk about the 2-minute rule. I think it's James Clear that talked about the 2 minute, or Mel Robbins that talked about the 2 minute or 5-minute rule. Just start it. I think that rule says that anything you can start and accomplish within 2 minutes, just don't procrastinate, just do it. So start it. Once you start it, so if you, for example, you want to write a book, just open that empty MS Word file, save it as a name, my new book. Day one, you are done. I'm telling you, something's going to draw you to that laptop the next day to do another 5 minutes. But amazing, like I said, those things come naturally to me in terms of building routines, and that's how I'm able to execute. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess for someone that it doesn't come natural to, the person needs to habit stack. The person now has to create a routine and be more intentional. Because I was going to ask the question, but I drew it from what you said. Yes, it's a routine for you because this is what you like to do. You are an introvert, you enjoy your own company, you enjoy what's going on in your mind, so it's probably easier for you. But for people like me that are not like you, I will now have to be intentional about making it a habit and begin to stack other habits to help me attach other habits to my habit that I've been able to successfully create, so that it makes it fun, it makes it enjoyable, it makes it doable for me. So I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was okay, this is natural to Dami. This is natural to Dami. So for someone that is not natural to, and then you now talked about habit stacking. So first of all, I just thought, okay, create a habit. Let your alarm. I realized that when I realized that I wanted to spend time praying for at least in terms of about 30 minutes every day, I knew that the way my day is, I can only achieve that between 5:30 and 6 a.m. So because I knew that this was very important for my life, I mean, sometimes I switch on the alarm, but more often than not, my body wakes up before that alarm now because I have done it. So I can now decide
there's one
to
TED talk
stack
I'll
other
send to you,
things
Ameze, remind me.
this one that my body has become accustomed to.
So this gentleman, can't remember his name.
I'm in school. I'm taking notes. There are pages
This
already.
gentleman,
So please, let's be clear.
growing up,
This is not just for
had a
anybody
problem
else.
in school that he didn't have a long attention span.
Yes,
So he never was doing well in school. So this guy decided that 5 minute attention span that he has, he was going to maximize it. And there are some time management techniques that are built around that. So if you focus for that 5 minutes, then go and take another 10 minutes to do whatever he wants. Come back and focus for that 5 minutes. And by the time he did that TED talk, this guy had Guinness Book of Record. He had records that had to do with focus. Someone that grew up with a short attention span. So in fact, he started knitting. I think he knitted the whole building or something like that. And so that's the power of just breaking things down, doing them one by one. Find out what works for you. Build a routine, and just work that routine in a way that is peculiar or that works for you as an individual, and you'll be amazed. And focus on progress. Focus on progress. You'll be amazed over time what you can achieve. Okay.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Dami. Thank you. I'm going to shoot my shot and continue. I know that it's supposed to be 1 hour, but just 2 more questions.
I keep a very detailed journal.
Tools, because you like to read, so I'm sure you have. But what tools or
same as this,
do you personally use to
everybody
track your
should
progress?
Look for what works for them.
And I'm sure.
And there are many.
Just give us
if
some.
If you go on Play Store, there are many apps that you can use to track progress. But I go very simple. I just have a journal where I write. So I first start with my very long-term goals. I break them into medium-term, I break them into short-term. And for me, short-term is a year. Then from short-term, a quarter, a month, a week, a day. I'm that granular. And then as part of my procedures every morning, I look at, because I've already worked on it the day before, I look at what should I be doing today, no matter how small, even if for 5 minutes, that feeds into the goal of the day, goal of the week, goal of the month, goal of the quarter, goal of the year, goal of 5 years. And I think it was Miles Monroe that was talking one day that said that he can predict the future by what you're doing today. Because it's the law of sowing and reaping, isn't it? So instead of wondering what am I going to achieve in 1 year, no, just focus on one day. Just forget about the next day will take care of itself. So if you can break down your goals and be as granular as possible, and your focus is achieving that specific goal, and you're tracking that at that a level as granular as that, then you will make a lot of progress. So it's on my phone. For me, it's on my phone. But I know a number of people use apps to track their goals. There are many of them. None of them come to mind now because I just do it using my own journal on my phone. Yeah, on my phone. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Journaling. It's just as easy as journaling. So yeah, that means not making it rocket science. It's telling you just write it
Hi.
down. Make it plain and keep following through. Keep looking at it. Make it a to-do
Oh,
list. Thank
hi
you.
guys. Hi
Yeah.
guys.
So Hanami, there are loads of questions that came in, and some of your people are joining in. Bayo Babalola, has joined in. Luke has joined in.
Mm-hmm,
Segi
mm-hmm.
has joined in. But then I'm telling you, yeah. So thank you all for joining. It has been amazing. You can catch the replay. So when things don't go as planned, because we talked about journaling, we talked about
Hmm.
celebrating, we talked about making the
Okay,
goals
first and foremost, let's
granular, we talked
be
about
human,
doing
right?
everything that we need
It's
to
Mel
do in
Robbins
terms
that
of
I think I
preparation
read
to
from
achieve
her
this
that
great goal.
you can
When things don't
grieve.
go as planned,
You're not a
how do you
machine.
recalibrate without losing
I
momentum?
think, but what she said is that give yourself a deadline. So, things haven't gone wrong. Things have gone wrong. You failed in a particular area of your life. Things haven't panned out as you envisaged. Things have gone belly up. Yeah, take out that time and go through that emotion. Just don't stay there. The second thing is that you need to separate. How do I say this? You need to separate your performance from your identity. That's the way I'll say it. And
Yeah.
you are you have the words amazing. That's why you're amazing. So an example. Okay, so
You are not your
my wife
failure.
recently bought
You are not,
some
yeah.
furniture that you need to what's the word, assemble,
Oh,
and
you do,
we did
please.
a bit of back and forth, did some things wrong. But when we got it wrong, we didn't say, "Oh, we're failures." It's just wrong. You just untie it, untie the bolt and just do it again. So
Mhm.
after you've gone through the emotions, you are human. You are allowed to. Don't do it forever. Give yourself a deadline. Go to those emotions. You're not superhuman.
Mhm.
Then just
Yeah,
start again. Learn the lesson and start again. And
that's
go back
right.
to your why. Why did you start this project in the first place? Is that why still relevant? If 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 the why is not valid, if you found that you've made a mistake, we talked about being able to pivot, earlier on. You're going in the wrong direction. Please, um, change direction. But if the why is still valid, if the why is still relevant, remind yourself of the why. Envision that outcome. What got you excited to invest in that direction in the first place, and just simply start again. It sounds easier said than done, but that's the reality of life. It does not stop it from being true. We like reading. The proliferation of motivational speakers. We hear all these things. Thomas Edison, the light bulb, 999 times. But have you stopped to think that it actually happened to a human being
That's
who
true.
actually tried 999 times? I doubt I can. I doubt I have that kind of patience. But someone did that. So just start again. Your support structure is also
Mhm.
important here. I talked about don't do it alone. Um, go back to your support structure. If they are truly your support structure, they will encourage you in that moment. And lastly, which is probably the most important, it may sound counterintuitive, but expect to fail, please. I know many people will be saying it's not my portion. Well, that's fine. Um, That's fine, but expect there's execution is never a straight line. And to prove it, just think about your own life. Think about the things you've achieved. Think about the things you've set out to do and eventually achieve them. Was the execution a straight line? Was the path a straight line? No, there are obstacles. You have to navigate. Getting to any vision has to do with navigation. So you are going to have setbacks. They are fine. They are okay. You see what I mean? But so if you go into big projects with that kind of mindset, it already prepares you for the emotional pressure that comes when when things don't go as planned. And all of us have gone through those experiences. Yeah, so that's what I'll say, Ameze.
I mean, like it was so loaded. I don't even know. It's going to take us a couple of weeks to keep putting. I'm not psyching you. I know that I can be a psycher, but I'm not doing that. I have a lot of notes. You talked about separating your performance from your identity. First of all, the first thing I noted was give yourself permission to grieve. And I said that in one of our videos. Take time off. You lost your father. You need to grieve. You did not expect that he would die. You didn't visit him before he went. You failed at something that you were sure you would do well at. One of my mentees was telling me how she failed at an exam and she switched off her phone. Nobody could reach her. I mean, when they finally could reach her, they were like, "You don't do that when people are looking for you," you know. So there's nothing wrong with that. And thank you for giving us permission to grieve. Because sometimes you feel weak when people say, just get up and go. What are you? Get up and go. You're a soldier and everything. But soldiers, you need to just tell yourself, I didn't do well at this time. And I am really disappointed in myself. I need time to heal from me betraying myself the way I feel like I betrayed myself. So thank you for giving us permission to grieve. Take time if you need to go, because the truth is, if you don't take a break from work, you'll be lashing out at people. You don't do what you're supposed to do because you're going through something. So take the time out. But you said something, don't stay there. Let's not build a monument around the grief. Just do it like Nike says. So get up. Okay, we finished grieving. So get up and let's do it again. I don't know if I can do 99 times like Thomas Edison, but at least you can do 50, you can do 20, you can keep at it, just trying to make sure that you get
Exactly.
it. And as you try, I realize that I have a friend that has been writing a script over and over again. He has been rewriting the script, but for every time he rewrites a script, it gets better. So for every time Thomas editing failed, he learned what not to do. And so, and even though it took him 99 times to get there, but he got there. There's light in my house today, thanks to him. So thank you for giving us permission to do that. Thank you for telling us that something failed. It doesn't make us a failure. Separating the project, the performance from our identity. That's very, very key. You are not your mistake. You are not your failure. Thank you for reminding us of support structure, for having a good support system in place, because the right kind of people around you will determine how far you go. And that's, I'm sure a lot of research has proven. You told us to expect to fail. As Christians, we don't want to hear that, because our expectations are very key to delivering what we're going to deliver. But you did say setback. So I think expect to fail was to shock us out of our chairs. But I think you were referring to setbacks. You were saying you didn't get it right. It's a setback, is not a failure. I think our definition of failure can also be the problem. It is a setback. It's not a failure. It is something to say, I didn't do it right. But we are so, in the Western world, the child didn't do well, it's going to do it again. It's a normal thing. But in Africa, you don't not fail. You don't not confess. You don't not succeed. Failure is not an option. We don't, that's why people hide it. That's why people don't learn from people's lessons, because people are too ashamed to say, I failed at this. If I had done it like this, it wouldn't have turned out like that. So don't do it like this. That's why the Westerners of the Western world seem to be making progress, because they're not afraid to articulate what they did wrong. We have a superstar mentality where we want people to think, oh, I was like Nike, I just did it, and I always just execute. Come on, what are you talking about? Because it kind of makes us feel better. We don't want to be that vulnerable, I think is the word. Vulnerability is not easy for a lot of people. It's easier for some rather than others, but it is key. And you said execution is never a straight line. That for me has given me permission to just be rigmaroling until well, I'm just kidding. But has given me permission to know that, because I started writing Body Up in 2020. And like I said, it was released in 2024. Because when I find the job that I like, I'm closing at 11 p.m. I'm doing great things. Who's writing any book, But it's not a straight line. The detours that took place between 2020 and 2024, I believe, make the book a better book. I think if I had released it in 2020 and 2021, it will not be a close second to what it is now. So thank you. Execution is never a straight line. I said one more question, and we have overshot our time, but Navi work centers of people transitioning and people just entering the workforce. Three things. Three
For someone
non-negotiable
who, say
goals
that again.
they should be setting in their first year of work. For people just entering the workforce, what are the three these goals? You cannot negotiate it. Three non-negotiable goals, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Someone who's just entering the
I
workforce
think
or
first
maybe
and
transitioning to a new
foremost,
organization. Three things
build a
that they
reputation
should not
for
negotiate in the
excellence.
first year.
That's a lot of that takes a lot of hard work. Not just excellence, reliability. Everyone wants someone who is reliable. And please learn. Um, I've been in Vetiva for 20 years. So when new entrants come and I get the opportunity to speak with them, I tell them that everyone here is intelligent. So if you're intelligent, it's nothing new. Everyone here is hard work. Everyone here is hardworking. If you're hardworking, it's nothing new. But something not everyone has is that sense of ownership, and that's what is going to separate, you from
I remember
others.
that.
Own your role. What I see a lot these days is it's not my father's business. I'm just going to do the minimum to get by. But there's something called discretionary effort. You need to put in discretionary effort. That's what makes the difference. And you're helping yourself because you're building a habit of excellence. So it becomes a routine. You remember I said, in execution, build a structure of routine. So you can also build a structure of excellence by just making sure you're excellent in everything that you do. So build a reputation of excellence, reliability, learn. There are nuances in every environment. Don't come with your superhuman intelligence and try and just change everything. And
Yeah.
and someone said something recently, and I've heard it over time. So
Damn, you
I will
bought a
end
lot
with
of
this.
the books. Did you read it? Because you bought a lot of number of copies of Body Up, but the things that you're saying are right
We
there.
don't have to be friends. We're just here to
Thank
work.
you.
It sounds like it sounds like a good sound bite. It sounds, on the surface, it sounds intelligent, but it's not very intelligent. You need to be able to get along with others. It's called emotional intelligence, isn't it? You need to be able to manage people. You need to be able to get the best out of people. So that we don't have to be friends. Like I said, it sounds nice, but it's not very smart. So please learn how to get along with people.
Yes.
And the sky's the limit. And make sure whatever you do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis plugs into your medium term and your long term goals, so that you don't deviate and start putting effort into in the wrong direction. So that's what I'll say. But I know that's the last question. But I want to say one thing. One of the and I won't say because something I'm working on. Okay, one
Give
of
us more than
the
three.
most powerful books I've
Give us
ever
more than.
read is a book
Oh,
by
please say
a lady
it.
called
Please say it.
Angelina Ducksworth. That book is called Grit. Grit. You know what? Grit. Grit. It talks about the power of perseverance. And she did some research. And how did I get to know about that book? She actually did a TED talk on that book, which I listened to. She did some research.
Yes.
And what she did was to study individuals in different phases of life, right from young people, middle age, blah, 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 all the way. And she tried to answer a question: what is that one characteristic or factor that is common amongst those who succeeded in the tests or projects that were given during that research across those different demographies, and that's how she came up with that. The answer is grit. Grit. The way she defined grit is sustained effort over time. So stay there, hang in there. That's all I'm saying. Hang in there. Eventually, that vision, that effort will speak. You mentioned that you've been doing your live since 2023. So amazing. Hang in there, stay there. And she said perseverance over time, more than talent, is a predictor of success. So is what I'm working on now, which is why it's fresh in my mind. To say that there's a number of things that don't seem to be working, but one is you believe in.
Wow.
You believe in this vision, you believe in this thing. It doesn't seem to be working now. Hang in there over time. Hang in there over time. And that's what's going to make the difference, because you don't have that. It's because it's character. You don't have that, especially in young people today. You try one thing, it doesn't work. You know, yeah. Just stay in there, hang in there. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? The gentleman, is it Colin? What's his name? The chess guy. Yeah, he's been in that arena of trying to make a difference for less privileged children for many years. It's just now that his brand is now global. Yeah, so for everyone in here, everyone that listens to this, develop grit, develop the ability to stay the time. And at the end of the day, will be success. I can assure you. Thank you very much. Well, I opened my Instagram.
Thank you so much.
I opened my Instagram account, or what do you call it, just 2 days ago because of my meeting.
You don't have time for Instagram, so I'm sure you don't know what the flowers are. But that's just saying thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So now I'm on Instagram.
Yesterday or 2 days ago. I think it was yesterday, and I think you had help. I think Dara was a very vital force. So thank you, Dara. If not, your daddy would have had to log on with my personal account so that we could do this. But you see, it's not without reason. I can tell you that this is a book. If we decide to just do a book Q&A on goal setting, that's another book. Oh, Jesus, help me. Q&A on goal setting. This would actually, if I were to do the transcript of this, it'll be sensational. Anybody can take it and run with it, because there were just things. There's still a lot more questions, but I'm trusting that a lot of the things that you have said in answering the first set of questions, will touch on the other questions in one way or the other. So thank you so much. Oh, I see Sibongile from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much. Thank you all. We're going to upload the video, and our prayer for you is that your voice will be heard everywhere, because you have a lot to give. We look forward to the book, the not too technical one, because all of us want that journey within. We're all going through it, and for someone to articulate. Somebody says, Russian from Malawi says, welcome to IG. Welcome to Instagram. So please go and follow him. His page is very new. I'm sure Naviwork is following him, and Meza is following him, and maybe his daughter is following him. So please, let's all follow him, because obviously, and Dami, I know that you're an introvert, but a little bit of these sound bites, when we cut them out, we'll send it to you, post it on your page. People need to hear the things that you have said, because it's not just from personal experience, it's a collection of reading over the years. So it's not just your story, it's other people's stories that you have collected, other people's research that you have read, that you have released to us today, and our lives definitely are going to be better for it. I don't have the words to thank you enough, but you know that I'm grateful, and I know I'm going to get on a call with you immediately after this live. But thank you so much. And then we're going to announce on our page the 2 winners who put up their pictures in the senators, the 2 winners of the mentoring session with you, the people that even joined early. None of them are in Nigeria. I would have loved for it to be that, but this is for everybody. This is Navi Walk to the World, like Roshan would say. Yewande is saying hello to you. So this is Navi Work to the World. So I think the first person that won is from Malawi. The second person is that from Canada or from England, but we'll let you know, and we'll seek your time to know when is a good time for you to have a 30-minute session. I feel like sitting like a fly or being like a fly on the wall. I can imagine that it'll be transforming for them because they're young and they're agile and they really want to do well in life. So thank you so much for your time. And on this note, thank you people for joining. Thank you for those
Thank
that
you
will
very
watch the
much.
video later. We'll upload on our YouTube
Thank you.
channel. If you have not
Thank you.
subscribed, you are wrong. Please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch the videos. They will really help you. And we're going to be uploading all these videos as
Thank you.
well. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. That's what Navi Work is doing. We're going to solve the problem.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Tammy.
how
My
do
love to
I
your family,
log
because
off?
we've
How do you
taken almost an hour and 30 minutes of you, but our lives are forever changed.